We are in the NBA Finals. Game 3 was last night in Miami. The Denver Nuggets won 109-94. And honestly, the game wasn't as close as that score shows. That's because they're playing with their food the last couple minutes. They let it get a little closer than it need to be. Nikola Jokic, man. I've run out of words to describe this dude at this point. 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. His partner in crime, Jamal Murray, 34 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. They become the first duo in NBA history, no matter regular season or postseason, with two 30-point triple-doubles in the same game. Salute to both of those guys. And Nikola Jokic is just even more prestigious company. If you look at the list of people who have had a 30, 20, 10 game in the NBA postseason, the list goes as follows. 1967, Wilt Chamberlain when he was with the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. 1970, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference finals. This is where it gets crazy. 2021, Nikola Jokic in the Western Conference semifinals. 2023, Nikola Jokic in the Western Conference Finals. 2023, Nikola Jokic in the NBA Finals. Nikola Jokic is one of 3 guys on this list, and he has done it 3 fucking times, twice in this postseason. This dude is putting together one of the most impressive all-time runs that we've ever seen in NBA history. And this is one of these things where, I know we like to make jokes, not even make jokes, but it's because it's real shit about the Embiid Jokic debate, which is to me has been foolish from the jump, which I've been saying. Me and my man Pav have been preaching the gospel of Nikola Jokic, y'all, for a long time. Y'all just ain't been listening, and now you're finally seeing it on display. But this is a guy that if they get the next 2 wins, and I don't want to disrespect the Heat by saying that they got it all the way, even though I think they do. If they get the next 2 wins, he's going to be in a couple conversations. Now, my brother Flows, he brought up what's the big man Mount Rushmore conversation. We talked about this last night on the Barber's Chat Network NBA Finals postgame show. We put who would be on your big man Mount Rushmore. Mine currently right now, we're only talking centers when I think of big men. Now, I know Tim Duncan played a little bit of center, but I still look at TD as a power forward. On my personal big man Mount Rushmore, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You've got Shaquille O'Neal. You've got Hakeem Olajuwon. And I know Wilt Chamberlain should probably be on this list. But like I've said countless times before, we have footage and pictures of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. being hit with stones in Marquette Park on the south side of Chicago. But we ain't got no damn footage of Wilt Chamberlain scoring that 100. There's actual footage of Robert Kennedy getting carried out of that hotel after he got killed. But we ain't got no video of Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know if I 100% believe that. I'm putting on number 4, King of the Rings, Mr. Bill Russell at 4. Now, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can look at this. There's other centers that you could put there who have great resumes. The Admiral, David Robinson, you could put him on there. You could put, it's a whole bunch of lists there of great centers that you could put. I'm not saying Nikola Jokic is going to make the Mount Rushmore if he wins this one, but he's in the fucking conversation. I think he's a top 10 center of all time, and I don't like doing the all-time list right away. I'm definitely a guy who's like, wait till they finish their careers. But sometimes you just know what you're seeing when you're seeing it. It didn't take you to 2012 when LeBron won a championship for you to know that he was going to be an all-time great. It didn't take you that damn long. Some things you just see. And he's been doing this shit consistently. Back-to-back MVPs. This guy should have probably been the MVP this year. And just to have the dominant postseason that he's been having, and what makes him such a great player is he can affect the game without scoring, but he still scores the way he does. And I'm going to talk about the Heat in a minute. I talked about Bam and praying for him going to the finals. Bam has done everything he possibly could, and it just hasn't fucking mattered. So I think if they get these next 2 games, he's going to get in some real historic conversation. And this is going to be, and we talk about big men runs, this is the most impressive postseason I've seen from a big man since 2003 Tim Duncan. Like that's probably the last time I remember a guy being this dominant. Now obviously TD is better defensively, obviously, but the guy's just been taking over everything, and it's just been incredible to watch, man. And just named Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray had a great game, triple-double. I know some of y'all getting petty when he had that last rebound 8 seconds up. Who gives a fuck? He got it. And then we have Christian Braun pulling out a little mini Austin Reeves performance, went 7 of 8 from the field, had 15 points, 4 rebounds, was actually giving it to Jimmy Butler on multiple possessions. Man, this is just a complete team that we see right now with the Denver Nuggets. Is they're rolling, they're hitting on all cylinders. Game 1, they came out, beat the hell out of the Heat. Game 2, they did. I feel like they took their foot off the gas a little bit. That's not to take anything from the Heat, because the Heat played a great game. But it just is what it is. Like, I feel like they kind of let down their guard a little bit. And also they were due for a loss. They came into that game winning, I think it was 7 in a row, 7 row games coming at. It was meant to actually happen. But now we go to the Miami Heat side of things, man. This series is not over. Even though the Denver Nuggets did snatch the home court advantage back, as we saw, they have proven that they can win on the road. They have now lost 3 home games in a row, which is a troubling sign. And I got to give it to the Miami crowd, man. They were actually loud until, they started getting the brakes beat off of them. And last night I ordered some Wingstop. And I remember the itis hit me somewhere in the third quarter. And it was like a 5-6 point game. And I woke up and these dudes was getting drummed. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I don't really know what part of the game it got dark. I just know it got dark. And when it wasn't dark, the Miami Heat crowd was very great. So I got to give it to those fans. We always make fun of them like we make fun of Laker fans where they come in too late. If you've been to Los Angeles or if you've been to Miami, Florida, there's other shit to do. So I'm pretty sure making a basketball game is a number 1 on your list. But the fans were there from the start, and they gave a lot of good energy to the Heat. The Heat just couldn't do it. And I think the thing with the Heat is I don't believe in moral victories for the most part, especially a team that, they're not the usual AC. They were Jimmy missed 3 away from being in the NBA Finals last year. But this run that they've had, I think this is a no-lose situation. I mean, obviously lose the NBA Finals, but nobody expects you to be here. And it just kind of feels like they're running on fumes. Jimmy's ankle looks absolutely cooked. You got to just give him credit just for fighting through that shit since he sprained it in the Knicks series. But he had a good game as much as he could. But even Jimmy, 28 points on 24 shots. That's the most aggressive we've seen him in a while. And it just didn't matter. Like I just mentioned, Bam Adebayo had a great game. 22 points, 17 rebounds. He's playing the best defense that you possibly can play on Jokic. But it just doesn't fucking matter when you play that dude. But here's where you lose the game if you're the Miami Heat. You have to play perfect basketball to give yourself even a chance in this series just because of how good the Denver Nuggets are. You can't have 20 combined points between Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Caleb Martin. That type of shit can't happen. They got to have the games they had in game 2 to even give yourselves a shot, to give yourself a chance. And I think the same thing that was in game 1. I don't think that these were bad shot attempts. They were just missing. I do think there were some questionable calls. Tony Brothers putting up a classic Tony Brothers performance. There was a couple shaky calls on Caleb Martin, a couple shaky ones on Gabe Vincent for sure. And it kind of got them out the rhythm of the game. Now, I don't like to blame refs for wins and losses. There's very few occasions where a ref actually influences the outcome of a game. But you really can't blame him if you're a Miami Heat fan. Even though there were some bad calls, you got your ass beat the way you got your ass beat. That just really is what it is. And I just think that it's inevitable at this point. There's ways that they can make it competitive. I just don't see how, they beat them 3 more times. I just don't see it. I wouldn't be shocked if they win tomorrow, tie this series up 2-2. But it's just going to take a lot, man. And I just don't think they have it. And I just think they're the better team. When we did our Ball Don't Lie NBA playoff preview, we had Pav on the show. I really, really, really wanted to take the Denver Nuggets. I took the coward way out and took the Milwaukee Bucks. But I really wanted to take the Nuggets because I felt like they were really going to come into this postseason more engaged because they had their team fully healthy for the first time in a couple of years. And, they took care of Minnesota, probably could have swept them. But I really like the way they responded in the semifinals against the Suns. When they blew the Suns out the first 2 games, had easy 2 games, looked like it was going to be a sweep. Suns went out there, had ridiculous shooting by Devin Booker, by Kevin Durant, and also you had Landry Shamet having a crazy game 4, I think it was. And for them to bounce back the way they bounced back with a big game 5 winning home and then just absolutely waxing the floor with them in game 6 in Phoenix, and then just taking it to the Lakers 4 games straight, it was just like, this is just the better team. There comes a time in every season where every postseason where you know who the better team is. And I think that that's just who they are. And I don't think there's anything Miami can do about it unless somebody kidnaps Joker, which obviously I don't know who kidnapping that big ass motherfucker, especially with his brothers around. But yeah, the Heat, man, they're looking down the barrel of a 9 right now, man. It's not looking too good for Jimmy Buckets and the crew. But if there's one thing we've learned about the Heat this playoffs is that you can't 100% count them out. So we'll see how this goes, but it looks like a very, very hard task for the Heat to accomplish, man.